Alright, we're going underneath the car, and we're going right back there to that opening, and once I get under there I'll give you a closer look at the O2 sensor. Alright, I'm back underneath the car. I've got it up on ramps. I added a little extra block just to give me a little extra clearance, because that's the low profile ramp that allows me to get underneath the car without damaging the air dam. On the Ford Fusion, standard height ramps are just a little bit too tall. But I'm directly underneath the oil pan right now, and if you look up here, there is your catalytic converter coming off your exhaust manifold, and there is the O2 sensor right there. So I'm going to be taking that off and replacing it. Alright, so the first thing you're going to need is you're going to need a specialty O2 sensor tool like this. This allows it to go over the top of it without damaging the wire, over the top of the sensor. This one is a 7/8 inch O2 sensor. If you don't want to go buy one, I bought this one for my old Chevy truck probably 12 years ago, and it works for this, so I'm good there. I believe if you don't want to go buy one, they're probably about 10 or 12 bucks. If you don't want to go buy one, places like Advance Auto and AutoZone should be able to loan you one. So anyway, it goes up here like this, and it just slides right over top of the O2 sensor, and you can see that it fits over there without damaging the wire. So the wire just kind of goes through that slot there. So now you can turn the sensor without damaging the wire. Alright, so now I'm just going to put my socket wrench on there. Make sure it's going the right direction. There we go. And now I'm just going to give it a pop to loosen it up. Alright, so that sensor was on there pretty tight. I actually had to put my ratchet handle on that socket, and then I also had to put a box end wrench on there to use for a little bit of extra leverage, kind of make the handle longer to bust it loose. But once I did, it only took about 3, maybe 4 turns to come out, so the thread is not that long. You can see the sensor here. It is quite dirty. I don't know how well you can see that on camera right now, but I'll take a side-by-side comparison of it with the new one before I put it in. So now I've got to go up top. You can see how this wire is going up towards the top of the engine. So I got to go to the top side of the engine and reach down to unclip it, and then I'll be able to pull this out and put the new one in. Alright guys, once again, I don't know how well you can see this, but you see my thumb down there? I'm in between this intake tube and this other tube down below. The round tube is for the turbo, and the connector is right here. So it's kind of tight. I kind of have my arm down in between behind, and I'm going to try to unplug the sensor there. I just got to feel for the little clip without burning myself on the exhaust manifold, because I just drove this thing home. I got the old one unclipped. The good news is it looks exactly like the new one. All I did was, if you kind of feel for just the very front of it with your thumbnail there, all you got to do is push down on this little deal right here with your thumbnail. See that there? And you just have to push it down a little bit and it releases. It's not very hard. I chipped my thumbnail a little bit, it looks like, but my manicurist will have to take care of that. Just kidding, I'm a real man. Alright, so here is the old sensor versus the new sensor. You can see the new sensor actually says it's made in Germany, and it has the Ford logo on it. I got this one on Amazon for 25 bucks. I'll post a link to it below. So that's much better than what Advance Auto wanted. I think the one they wanted for was 68 bucks or even more than that. You can see the difference between the sensors are exactly the same, only one is a lot nastier, obviously. And then if you look down here at the plug ends, they're exactly the same as well. See there? As I've draped the new sensor down from up above, I've still got the connector here. You don't want to plug it in yet until after you screw it in, because once you screw it in, you're gonna kind of tangle up the cord a little bit, and you're gonna want to untwist that before you plug it in. So what I've done is, to hold it in place, is just put it inside this metal clip here that keeps it away from this heat shield. So The new sensor already has some anti-seize compound on the threads, so I can just screw that in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start threading it by hand to be sure it's not cross-threaded. This one seems to be turning a little bit more than the old one. But see now how the cord is all tangled up? I'm going to untwist that. So I'm going to take it out of the clip and untwist that before I go and plug it in. Alright, so now I'm going to put the socket onto the new sensor. And I'm going to tighten it up with my ratchet. Flip that. Alright, I felt it tighten up good. Take that off of there. Alright, I'm going to make sure this cord is untwisted. I'm going to clip it back in this clip so I can make sure and reach it from the top side. Alright, then I'm going to go back up top and plug it in, and hopefully it clears my check engine error. Alright guys, I'm back up top. You can see the connector here, hopefully. And I'm just going to reach for it with my hand. I can feel it down here. See down where my thumb is? And the clip side goes on the top. I'm going to clip that in there. Alright, I felt it clip in. Now, just below where you cannot see on camera, there's another little kind of clip holder that the wire goes into to hold it in place. You can feel it with your hand. Just clip it in there and you're good to go. Alright guys, it's a few days later. I drove the car for a couple of days and the light still had not gone out, the check engine light. So I ordered the other sensor, the upper CO2 sensor, which is above the catalytic converter. And in the process of that being delivered, this light just went out. So I went and had the codes checked. Everything is clear, everything's good. She drives awesome. Everything sounds good, everything looks good. So I'm gonna call that a win. I'm not sure how many miles. I know it was around 100, maybe a little less than 100. I have to look at the before picture with the mileage on it to see exactly. But again, it took a couple of days for that check engine code to clear, and then we were good to go. Appreciate you guys. Take care.